go. We got Lucas joining us tonight. But we might have some tech issues. I can't hear him, but he's here anyway, at least in spirit. I hope everybody's doing good.
Can you hear me?
This is the big game. I was reading the weather. Says it's going to be -4 with a wind chill of up to -24, man. That's crazy. It's crazy, Lucas. -24. It's going to be something else. Yeah, keep working on that audio, man, because you were at the game.
That's really bad.
I need you to
That's really bad. Can you hear me at all or no?
Yeah. Give us a tale of what you saw and everything. So that's it, guys. This game's not going to be easy. It's going to be a long shot. I was going over the last game, and there's a lot of stuff that I saw last time that I didn't recognize, or I didn't pick up on. And I'm going to get into a little bit of that too. I guess I'm going to wait around for somebody to show up. It's just me and Lucas right now, so I guess we'll see how it flies. But anyway, this is a big game, brother. I don't know. Hey, Rude, you're here. Yeah, we earned this weather. We can. Oh wait, what am I doing? I'm out of sorts here. I'm out of my game. We earned this weather. We can hear you, Lucas, but Curtis cannot. It appears. Yeah, because I'm a jackass. Oh man, what am I doing wrong? I got this thing plugged in here. Oh man, I don't know. What's going on, Cliff? I'm trying to figure out what the heck I'm doing. Why can't I hear you, Lucas? I hear myself.
I don't know what it might be, but I'm
Lucas,
glad that everybody else hears me. Not that I'm going to be saying a whole bunch of stuff. I hear an echo on myself too, though.
Right. But it's weird, dude. Do you hear the echo now?
Hello.
I don't know, man. Anyway. Oh,
you can hear me now, though?
I'm a dumb barbarian, man. I don't know what to do. We were perfect last time working.
Yeah.
Hey, Lucas, you were at the game last week. Give us like a little flavor of what you saw and how it ended.
I mean, it was super disappointing, but there was plenty of red and blue there. That's a little disappointing. A friend of mine the one that took me down there, he said that people are flying in droves and everything. I don't know where they get the money from and everything to fly in and do all this kind of stuff and everything. It sounds crazy to me. I don't know how they're able to support their team the way they do, but they do. So more power to them. Bill's Mafia is for real. There's no question about that. Hey, I'd love to go over all the country. I'd love to be in Kansas City tomorrow, even if it's cold, to support my team. As far as the game was concerned, there was a lot of ups and downs, at the start. I tended to get a little caught up in the moment. I wasn't looking at it as Curtis, you would say as an evaluator, but I can't even call myself that. I'm really just a fan, and I try to pretend that I know what I'm talking about, which I don't. But it was a lot of fun and an enjoyable experience, and we really showed some promise.
What happened?
Didn't go.
I'm getting the tech
our way. What we
insects are coming in here. I think I don't. think you're freezing up, or maybe me. I don't know which.
What's that?
I got a bad feeling. It's slowing up a little bit. Don't worry about it.
Hey, if it's me cutting out, you take over. I'll shut my mouth.
Anyway, a second. No, it's not you. It's not you. Now, I remember you saying when you were leaving, you heard people kind of get venting. The fans were venting a little bit.
Yeah. Everybody was, Tua's not the guy. It's all Tua's fault. He can't carry the team. And, and all that kind of stuff. They must have forgotten the 4 touchdowns that he threw in 1 quarter against the Ravens last year. And obviously that was one game, so you can't make a judgment based on just off of that. But he obviously can do it, just didn't do it, last Sunday.
Yeah, well,
What do you think?
that's the whole thing. I mean, honestly, look, everybody's got an evaluation.
Yeah.
And I don't try to say I know everything, but I know football's a team game. And I know if you're only getting blitzed 2 or 3 times a game, that's not good. If you can cover with 7, you can stop the run, you can get pressure, and you don't need to blitz. That's not good. Now, this is the craziest thing I didn't realize. I'm going to get into that in a second. I just want to answer some of these comments. It was going, hey, Scott. Hey, Curtis, I still remember the charge after they beat your Finns in OT back in 18. I don't even remember that, dude. I was like 11 years old. I didn't even know what planet I'm on until I was about 25. So I kind of remember something. I used to, a lot of the games I would read in the news clippings. I couldn't see them because I was a New Yorker. What I do remember is losing to the Chargers in, I guess it was 92 or whatever. That was a disaster. Let me see. Okay, Chargers. I hate the Chargers. Bad internet. He's freezing up. I caught up. All right, listen. What I didn't realize last time was what a blitz fest it was. Tua was blitzed like you wouldn't believe, and so was Mahomes. It was at a rate. I don't know why I didn't pick it up when I was covering it the last time. Maybe I did. I can't remember. But Tua was blitzed 11 out of 13 dropbacks. So he was blitzed 11 times. And that was one of the season highs for him on being blitzed. But Mahomes was blitzed 16 times. There was a lot of blitzes going on. Yeah. The gusts are going to be up to 25 miles an hour. And that's going to suit Mahomes with the bigger arm. But the blitz factor that was a game. I got to go back over and check, but he was blitzed in that game. But the pressure rate, he was under pressure 31% of the time, which was pretty crazy. Now, Mahomes was just about the same, about 30%. Each one was blitzed a ton, and there was lots of pressure. Now, most of the time, Tua was getting zone coverage, and he was getting not much blitzing. But KC is going to come at us. They're going to play man. And when you talk about that huge gusts and the cold, it's going to make it even harder for Tua to do his deal. In Oregon, and our high tomorrow will be 5 degrees. Wow, it's going to be insane. I've played a little bit in some cold, man, and it's just the worst feeling in the world. But to me, Tua is let's see. Hey, Sean, what's going on? That's the 3rd time this season he did to give us the best opportunity to win in the last 2 minutes, and he threw a pick each time. You can't deny that situation. I mean, he is what happened. But you go back and you look at Dan Marino in the old days, and he would throw us to victory without a doubt. But there was times when he would throw picks too. But Dan Marino is a much better quarterback than Tua. So I still ask the question, why did we build a team for Dan Marino when we have Tua, who's not as good as Dan Marino? Why didn't we build a greasy style team for Tua? Look, Tua's not at this stage a guy that's going to take a game over. He's like a point guard. He's got some nice traits, but why do we create a scheme that is so Tua dependent? It was just not a wise build. Look, we've seen Tua do well. You got to ask yourself, why does the ball have to get out so quick? I believe pass protection is a problem. I believe I believe real pressure affects him, and I do believe he sees a little bit of shadows too. Kid's in his 4th year. I just don't know why we expect him to be Dan Marino, one of these elite quarterbacks. It's just not what he's doing right now. He's got the ability to facilitate the ball. Do I think he can win a Super Bowl? I don't know. I think he's got plenty of talent if we build. Look, Brad Johnson won a Super Bowl. Flacco's in the playoffs. So I just think the biggest mistake is that we invested 2 first-round picks on Waddle. We invested almost a whole draft practically on Hill, which they're great. You can't. I love having them, but just think about all the picks you spent on Chubb, 2 on Kinley, second and third on Eichenberg. Why didn't we do what we just build out the team, build out a running game, make Tua deliver the ball in the clutch, much less, but have them where teams are buying into something else. The O-line is why the ball is out quick. Give him 3 seconds. Yes. I mean, look at Baker. Baker, everyone called him an idiot. He was a totally garbage. Now he's got his team in the playoffs. I'm not saying they're going to go far or whatever, but hey, John, what's going on? We hosted 6 Bills fans, and they had a great time. It was good energy overall, even with the Fins fans. My takeaway is the Bills secondary tracked the ball and played elite. Yeah, and they just sat with 7 guys in coverage, man. That is so easy. When you rush 4, like, you have to understand, when you run to the edges and you could play cover 1, you got everybody in perfect position to deal with the pass, deal with the pocket pass. You got, when you got Hill, you got the free safety, one guy to kind of slow down Hill. And all that works to the edges and middle. If we had been able to run the ball inside, they would have had to creep up. They would have had to go to different looks. Where's Rude? Let's see. With an O-line of solid defense, I truly, yeah. I mean, look, if Brad Johnson and Flacquito can win a Super Bowl, I mean, you got to see what he does in the moment, but just from an overall talent perspective, yeah. And anyway, John, yeah, I hated Bills fans my whole life. And then when I started doing this thing, I started covering the Bills. I met them. They were really nice to me, man. I don't know. I'm not saying everybody's jerk Fin fans and jerk Bills fans, of course, but I don't know. They love their team. They wouldn't have sold their tickets. That bothered me the most. I can't believe we had home field advantage. And yeah, I heard crickets down there. And that's got to say a lot about us. And I think that's another thing. I wasn't as many as the Cowboy fans. There was a lot of Cowboy fans. Wow. I didn't even know that. And that's the thing that bothers me. Like I said a couple of weeks ago, if we overinflate this offensive line, how good this team is, then there's nobody left to blame but McDaniel and Tua. And it's not to say that they're the greatest thing, but it's a team game. We all know Tua's not tall. He doesn't have a giant arm. He's not ultra mobile. Drew Brees, if you gave Drew Brees a bad offensive line and no run game, or Brady, what would they do? And it's kind of the same thing. I feel like Greer just said, you know what? Ross grew up with Marino. Let's rebuild the Marino offense. It hurt my heart. I wasn't at the game last week. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. My friend from Rochester was telling me that. I'm like, nah, it's all just hype. And then, like, when the announcers kind of said it, it was like, that's bad. With Bills fans, we get Western New York and Southern Ontario. That's a great fan base. Yeah, you guys love your team. We're kind of a little bit of fly-by-nighters. But anyway, let me get into something, too. I noticed that I want to show you some film. And it goes back to I really try to do my best to present good information. And it's so easy with the Twitter universe to just put stuff out there that really isn't true, but it looks true. So like when we played Kansas City last time, you heard, well, Mostert said, let's run the football. And we ran the football twice and had 2 big chunk yards. Why didn't we do a whole game? McDaniel's an idiot. Well, I'm going to show you those last 2 plays. And there's key context to a lot of people who are pushing that narrative. And it will, it kind of goes into what we're going to see this week. So this is the end of the game. And you can see right here, oh, big run. Why didn't we do this before? McDaniel's an idiot. Look at this big chunk. We could have been running all day. I want you to notice something. What do you notice? They got a dime out there. They got 1 linebacker. They've got 4 D linemen. I think they got 2 linebackers on the edge. They have an ultra-light dime. They're playing pass like nobody's business. They're riding the clock. And so we get a pop run because they're ultra small playing off in a dime. And both plays were the same. They came out. The rest of the game, we didn't do anything on the ground. Look at this dime. This is a pure dime. Look how they got themselves set up. You get the chunk run in here. And why didn't we do this all game? Because they didn't play dime. And so these are the kind of things that I want fans to understand. I try, if Mostert, Achane are healthy, run the ball for them. Yeah, but the problem is everything we do is the same. We're one-dimensional in the run game. We're one-dimensional in the passing, and they both mesh over. If we were one-dimensional running inside and we had the outside passes and the pocket passes, it would create tension. We do not create tension on our offense. We do get the motions, and we got the tension of the leverage, of fear of the speed, but you can set your defense up in your nickel. You play the wide alignment, the 5 tech ends, and everything works to stop the same thing. And that's the problem that we have over and over. Hey, Lucas, what's going on? Oh, wait, that's you. Yeah. Wait. I got a hallucination over there. You're typing. Oh, you got audio issues. Hold on a second. Where we at? We stopped running the balls against the Bills too, but we couldn't run the football. If you look in the first half, I did a whole breakdown of it. We had like 5 pop runs, and then we had like 4 or 5 negative plays on the edge. And when you go through the whole day, I got the numbers someplace. It was like a balance, big run, and then big stop. And the problem with that is it creates lack of consistency. And that's all our offense is. We do not matriculate down the field. We're constantly trying to go for the big play. We're constantly trying to grab the big pass play, but there is no real matriculation. And when we get thrown off on first down on a negative run play, because when you run zone stretch is pretty when it works. It's ugly when it doesn't. It's entirely way more fickle than the inside zone. Inside zone doesn't have the big flash plays, but it's more consistent. You can kind of bank on it better. It's more physical. And so all this outside zone stuff, all these pocket passes and the screens and the flats and then the deeps, all that stuff can be boxed off in the same shell. Now, when you got Waddle and Hill, it makes it harder. They got to play the cover too. 2 high safeties unless they want to get burnt. And then that opens up some space. But the consistency is just not there. And then when you add in a run game that pass blocking that's not good. Like if you look at KC. Guys, this is crazy numbers. I don't know how anybody cannot focus on the offensive line. It's mind-blowing. Okay, so we played KC. They blitzed us, right? Kept clean. Tua got the ball out 2.16 seconds, which is insane. Like it is the fit. There's nobody getting it out that fast. Like maybe like Mac was close a couple times. But this is the regular. Do you know what our blitz time to throw was on those 13 blitzes? 1.94. Less than 2 seconds the pressure got there. How do you operate with that? I mean, you look at Mahomes when he was blitzed for the 16 times. Now he's mobile, so you got to add that in. But it was 249, and he's got terrible tackles. And so, again, this is an incongruency in the way we built this team. Missing Achane and Waddle, hope they will help you. But if you can't get to Mahomes, and that's a problem. We're not going to be able to blitz as much as we did last time with no Chubb, no Phillips. We had Chubb and Phillips last time and Van Ginkel. It's going to be tough. Can we bring in O-line eligible every play? Yeah, right? Like flag football. One guy stays and everybody goes out. I've been working crazy, and in my feelings haven't been looking at the injury reports. I don't think they're out. I think they're questionable. A lot of guys are questionable. Peter Hubble. Hey, what's going on? Marino threw to the open guy. If you don't catch, you don't get thrown again. Call it tough love, but the players can get in a run now and again. Tua is forcing it. Yeah, in a sense, but he almost has to, and he's been asked to. He needs to check down more. But we also have to we have to understand, all right, you're Tua. You're sitting with McDaniel. You know the protection's not going to hold up. You know you got to get the ball out quick. You don't always just feel it and throw it. It's you preset that time. You know how quick the thing's going to get out. And a lot of times I don't think he trusts the protection to go through his progressions. Now, sometimes he misses them too. There's a bunch that he misses. But what came first, the chicken and the egg? This guy has been beat up. He's constantly had bad protection. And, we all know that all quarterbacks hear ghosts. Very few of them. Marino was a rare one that just, you could do anything to the guy, but he was one of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest. And so, Tua's coming off the concussion history. I just think that you got to know your team. You got to know your players. And when he was with Alabama, they had a great run game. And that would be something to take the weight off him. Look what they did with Allen. Josh Allen is the guy we call him a joke, and now he's back to being elite. But the run game is what settled him down. The run game is what had the Bills in the playoffs and winning all these games. Tua has to throw off pre-snap read too much. Yeah, and, it's not to take away excuses. Look, the kid's got to get better. He is a Breeze comp. But Peyton always had a good run game. He always committed to run. And it was the inside run as well as the outside run. And he had good offensive lines. Same with Brady. They made sure that this kid was protected. They gave him a balanced attack. Least sack quarterback this year is Allen. Well, he's so darn mobile. How do you sack him? You need like 10 guys. But you guys invested in your offensive line. Remember last year, Scott, when I said I was having arguments with my man Tommy, and I said, Tommy, when you got guys sitting in pass sets all day, whatever their skill level is, it's going to drop. When you get these guys running and they're attacking, Lucas is back. When you got these guys attacking, they get more confident. And the Bills, what's his face, Torrance, good, and Brown looks settled. Brown's looking good because he's hitting people. He feels good about hitting people. They're hitting him a lot, and it's keeping the defenses more balanced. So that offensive line's been together all season. I said, these offensive lines are the most critical in the NFL. They need the most chemistry. They need the 2 days. They need the extra practice. They're not getting it. The refs allowing holds like you wouldn't believe because they know they got to where you would have a disastrous product. And so when you get teams that run balanced and then they stay healthy and stay together, Dawkins is doing good. Then they have a huge advantage. Dolphins are on like the 12th rotation, different front 5 guys. And they really don't have much tight end blocking. They don't run inside. That outside zone stuff is not easy to block. And so it all comes back down. Yeah, Marino had a cannon and could hit. Yeah, Marino's one of the greatest. I would think he's the greatest thrower of all time. If I'm going to, you can't, how many teams have never had a franchise quarterback, like an elite Hall of Fame quarterback? There's a bunch. Most teams, maybe they get one, a couple with 2. You can't bank. You can build every year. There's an offensive line that's built. That's good. Good team that's built. And if you build a good team and you just get the best quarterback you can get, you have an opportunity to win. Maybe you get that Hall of Famer. But people want Tua to be a Hall of Famer. He isn't. Not yet. Maybe somehow, someday. But compare Marino to any. Oh yeah, it's like it's not. I know I'm a Dolphins fan, but Marino was the greatest of all time, dude. It's crazy. He had weaknesses. He operated too much on it. When they started doing the zone blitz, he was throwing picks like nobody's business because he kept operating on what he thought he saw, not what he read. And he was really having a hard time with that zone blitz for a while. So he had his weaknesses early on. He was mobile, and then he got immobile because the knees got just beat up and stuff. But Dan Marino's is ridiculous. The arm, the personality type, the accuracy. He's got everything that Tua's got as far as the anticipation and the quick release, plus an arm that's way better. And his mindset's different. He came from a steelworker town. It was different. See, if you had told me preseason this was our O-line and we were 11-6. I've been thrilled. It's working. Well, sort of. You're able to beat average to below average teams. And so you can't, it's not that the team can't beat good teams. It's that the offense can't beat good defenses with a good offense. We can't keep pace. You can't block like this. It looks so good because we eviscerate certain teams. You're like, wow, look. But there's a huge difference. Like a college player, dude, like this guy's an amazing athlete. He's an amazing football player. And now he might go to pros or whatever, but I'm generally speaking. But the difference between the pro and the college guy is crazy. And then the difference between a college guy and a high school guy is crazy. The gulf between haves and have-nots in the NFL are huge. And the offensive line is the most critical group in the NFL. And so, audio trouble, something is squeaking in the background. Let me see. Is it me? Anything squeaking? Me? Ugh. I hate technology, man. I wish I had a guru. So, offensive line is something that most people don't appreciate. Thanks, Dolphins Realtor. I appreciate that, brother. Most people don't. It's so hard. That's why I created my own analytics to begin to open up and unfold what's going on the offensive line. It's such a difficult group to analyze. And most people say, how many sacks were given up? How many pressures were given up? How many yards did we get? And that is all relative, but it's at the end of the branch. You got to go back to the root. And so we got 350, was against Denver or whatever, a giant, but then all of a sudden, if you look at the KC game, we had like 70 something and we popped off 60 something. We popped off 2 big runs at the end against their dime. Why? What's the difference? Why couldn't we run against the Bills? We couldn't run against Dallas, really. We couldn't run. I mean, we had some good runs in there, but they're playing nickel all day, So, sorry, guys. I think you're hearing something in the background on my mic. Oh, yeah. It's you. It's you, Fredo. It's always been you. Who was saying that before about at the O-line? I'm sorry, I got a Cliff. So if you remember the preseason, the first 2 games we lit them up like a Christmas tree. Then we went against the Jags, and it's like we were shut down. Like, what happened? And I was like, whoa, man, this is a really bad comp. And people are like, you're just being a hater. But it played out exactly the same in the regular season. We couldn't run against the Chargers, who were top run defense. Then we ran wild for a couple of weeks, and we got shut down by the Bills until they put their second stringers at the end, and Achane had a big run. And then we had a couple of good games, and we went against the Eagles and couldn't run. We went against Patriots. I don't think we ran too well the second time. I got to go check. We didn't run well against the Chiefs the first time. And then we had a couple of good games, and then we couldn't run against who was it? The Titans we couldn't run against too well. And then we could, and it was but it's always those particular teams, the run just goes down. And then the pressure goes down. And then they're just playing coverage all day. Why? Because we don't block well enough. And it's so hard unless you're actively sounding like a chupacabra. My wife believes in that. She's from Central America, man. She really believes that. She's like, oh, that thing's real. That thing's real. I'm like, I don't know. I like to see it just from afar, the chupacabra. So I still stick with Joe Burrow, holds the ball too long. Yeah, well, it's a combination with him. He's got to remember that the OC and the head coach set the protocols. So they give Joe Burrow a series of operations, and they tell him, this is what you've got to do in order to make this thing succeed. And so he originally had very high vertical routes, and they've been tailoring it back. But it was about him throwing. They were in a pass-happy mindset. The same thing with Dorsey. Same thing with McDaniel. But stay armed. But the thing is, guys, I personally believe, my evaluation is, we have moved from fun ball as the sweet spot And now we've gone into now we've gone into pass balance. Oh, that reminds me. Listen, any of you guys want to come on here and have a conversation and say something that you like my man Lucas.
As long as your microphone isn't being stupid like mine is.
Whatever, if you want to share something or you want to like say I'm wrong and have like a real debate or whatever, I'd enjoy having any of you guys on. It would be really cool. But Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and Tua, they have been in heavy pass mode for quite some time. But notice KC, they went more to the run game. Last year, he was injured, and they ran their way to a Super Bowl. Allen, the same stuff as we do. Screens, draws, outside edge runs, over the middle and deep, and he couldn't do anything. Then they reeled it back in, started running the football, playing play action, going on to center more, and all of a sudden he started getting some action. And that's what we need to do. Problem is we don't have the horses. It doesn't have to be smash mouth so much, Scott. It just needs to have balance because these defenses have been playing with their hands tied behind the back, and they've gotten so good with their calls, so good in their talent cycles going to them that you've got to trick them. It's not where it was the last 15 years. You've got to trick them. You've got to pull them inside. You got to get the one-on-ones. What's up, Lucas?
Curse, can you hear me?
You got something to say there, brother?
Yeah, can you hear me, though?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So, I think there's two sides to that. Like, do you start the game smash mouth and see what you can get away with? And if you get away with it, keep going and, like, maintain that? Or you start with the balance, like, is there a pro or a con one way or another?
Well, it's kind of like a fighter. So you have one fighter going against another fighter. You know that this guy throws a jab. He's got a weak jaw. He's susceptible to the 1-2. And you kind of set up a game plan of how you're going to attack. But however you slice it, you have to have defense. So there are certain things that are essential to win. We're second least in the league in converting 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1 in the run game. You cannot win like that. So if you were to come out, like for a while, McDaniel would always do play action and throw, like over and over and over and over again. But nobody was buying the play action. So you've got to have both things in your resume. Because if there's teams like KC, I'll show you in a second, they've got a weak hole in their second DT, but you can't attack it. The more tools you have, the more areas of weakness you can attack. Let me get some of these things. I've been talking too much. I'm betting the Chiefs will be waiting for that fake handoff to us. I bet they shoot at it, going to force us to run inside. Yeah, all they do is play the 5 tech. That's what we do. We play the 2 inside, the 5 wide, and dare them to run inside. That's what we do. That's what they're going to do. Hey, Brian, what's going on? McHenry. I like that name, McHenry, man. That's some kind of name, man. Hey, guys, sup, girls? Start with a huge throw, when permitting if possible, then run hell out of the ball. Yeah, you could, but you know, they're going to play their man. They might be playing man with too high. You know, maybe give it a shot. You're going to have to throw a little bit. Or you could do what the Patriots did to the Bills a couple of years ago. My prediction is 6-3 Dolphins. It could be, dude. This is going to be ugly. I played in one time. It was like 15 degrees. I think I said in my podcast. I remember my cleats. This is a much better field than I played on. But my cleats hit the ground. It was like concrete. Cut. It wasn't even digging in. And you're like on ice skates. And when you hit that ground, man, you feel it. This could be negative 25 wind chill. Do you know what that's like? I've never experienced that before. Skin will freeze. It's really bad.
I'll take 6-3 Dolphins, just by the way. I'll take 6-3 Dolphins. That's cool.
Look at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Look at the Buffalo Bills. Look at the 49ers. Even look at Eagles. the ability to now Jaguars have a lower end offensive line, and that's curtailed them. But last year they were doing really well when they had their offensive line together. Running inside in that A and B gap and having success forces the nickel to either shift into a bigger front or compress. It forces guys to shade to the inside. It forces them to look inside on the play action. And all that stuff creates doubt. It creates hesitancy. It adds to your leverage. And if you don't do it and they don't fear you, look what Fangio is able to do with the two guys inside and the 5 tech outside and 2 small linebackers over the top and still stop the run, stymies you. And so when you run the football, the offensive linemen have an easier job than pass protect. When you run the football in inside zone, it's an easier job than outside zone. And so you want to get as much easy stuff as you can. It takes pressure off. Allen started getting overwhelmed mentally. He was making the dumbest plays. I mean, he still makes some, what are you doing? But it becomes too much. Not everybody's Dan Marino or John Elway or Joe Montana that could just carry all that stuff. And so from a physicality standpoint, like you look at Gailey had a terrible run attack, but he kept running it inside zone. And the number of carries opened all kind of other things up because Fitzpatrick was able to notice, hey, that guy's shading his technique now because he's aiming for the run, audibles to a pass, and now something happens off that. But all that stuff slows things down. If the offense loses initiative, because the offense comes today, they know the call, it's going to be on, the second call, it's going to go here and do this. They have the initiative. But once they get there, the defense can take that initiative away. And if they take the initiative away, it kills an offense. The thing is, you want defenders to react, not act. You want offenders to act and not react. And so everything drives through where you create this kabuki theater. But if you're physical, then you're beating them down. You're sapping their will. They don't think as clearly. And then they got to pay attention to more stuff. Right now, all you got to pay attention to with the Dolphins is edge runs, pocket pass, post, and a fly. That's it. They'll move this way. They'll move that way. That's all they're going to do. They'll throw some screens. Everything will go to the edge, and it will go over the middle at the 15-yard pocket pass. And if you watched last week, with the Bills and the week before that with the Ravens, they dropped to that point every single time. The one play where Van Noy, he faked going in and he dropped back, and then it gave Smith the free to go get that pocket pass and pick it off. Like they all know you cannot make it easier for these guys. We make it too easy. On the field, yeah. But then you have all this motion and all this stuff. What happens when your home field crowd isn't there and the Bills are yelling at you and you can't get the calls in on time and everything's slowing down? Or now you're going to be on the road. The wind's whipping. You've got a crowd. The guys can't hear you. All that stuff goes out the door, and it comes down to let me punch you in the face is going to be enough. And we can't do it. We can't. Connor and Hunt were great. I don't know if those pairs are going to stay together. Jackson cannot drive block. Don't tell me he can. He was disastrous in this game. He's going to be disastrous in this game in the run block. He could pass block a little bit when you set things up right. I like Jones a little bit, but he's just not good at the outside zone. He doesn't have the footwork for that. He's an inside zone guy, and he'll get beat in the pass rush. And then Eichenberg can't do it. He can't drive block. He can barely zone block, stretch block. Tehran can kind of do both, but he's a slide shader blocker. He's not a drive blocker, so we don't have those tools. Go on, brother. You're up. Can't hear you.
My bad. I was saying hi to what's up 72A's Dolphins. I just saw him there. So was waving to him. My bad.
Yeah, it's great. I love that, man.
We got to come up with like some
I miss the
code
old
words, some
school.
signals and everything.
What? I'm sorry. All right. You there, Lucas? You want to say
Yeah, I'm
something?
here. Can you hear me? All good.
Okay, cool. Ask Peacock and sponsors about rescheduling. They're in charge of this game. Me personally, I don't think they should reschedule. Football is a game of war. This is the chosen battlefield. It's been like that forever. It's part of the beauty of the old NFL. Remember those old films, John? You know better than me. I don't think the field should ever change unless it's like lightning or something like that. This is the home field. This is the chosen battleground for the two armies of warriors, and let it be. Sucks for us. When it's 5,000 degrees and we have teams come in like the Bills last year, no one's complaining. So this, in a way, this negative 24 is as bad as it was for the Bills last year, sitting in that sun. So I don't mind it at all. It sucks for us though. But if we built like the 72 Dolphins and we had that nice big front and we had some good power backs and we had Hill and maybe some other cast around him, or Waddle and a little cast around him, we would be all-weather team. Right now, we're kind of unidimensional. That's what we've done. We've built a unidimensional offense. And it would have been great if we had home field advantage throughout. We rolled the dice and we came up snake eyes. Chiefs run zero blitz sometimes. So, they run all kinds. Yeah. They're going to – I don't know about zero blitz, but they bring a lot of guys up to the line of scrimmage. They like to do like they'll bring the cornerback and a flash sting blitz off the edge. But they're not like doing like Flores does. I don't think they get as naked as Flores like to get, not much. But with his blitzes, you just bring everybody up to the line of scrimmage and have like one guy back. It was crazy. He played three guys deep, three zone guy, cover three, and then just blitz everybody. He's not doing that kind of stuff, I don't think. I didn't really study it out enough, but maybe. But they're going to blitz a lot. They blitz. I can't believe how much they blitzed us last time. So let me see. Play the game, as John Madden said. That's football, man. Look. It's the beauty of it, it's the beauty of the game. It's harsh. It's violent. It's like, there's a battlefield. No one's going to say, hey guys, let's take a timeout. It's raining. My general's got a little bit of the sniffles. We don't want to, it is what it is. Let it be, that's football. That's the beauty of it. It's a barbaric sport. It's a violent sport. I love it. Play the game, as John Madden said, if it spit freezes before it hits it's too cold for football until then you play. That's right. Well, maybe it will freeze, but I don't know. So let's take a look at this. To me, our defense is going to be able to mitigate some of their stuff. I think in time, they're going to wear us out. We're not going to be able to blitz as much. But I think we'll keep it at least for the first half, where if we're reasonably competent on offense, then we can make it a game for the second half. And I think that's really got to be the mindset. Just get to that first half and make it a game and get your feet underneath you, get the nerves out, get the team believing and stuff, and keep it, whatever it is. It could be 30-30. It could be 6-6. I don't know. Just stay within at least 3 to 4 points. But it's going to come down to our offense. MJ, Miami kid, what's going on? I think we can neutralize Pacheco. The player that concerns me is Rice. Rice is fast. But Pacheco concerns me too because, so when it's really, really cold and it's you're sitting on the sidelines for a little bit, those fingers and that body, it starts getting cold. And when you get that licking on you and try to put your hands around a guy to drag him down, as the game wears on, it gets harder and harder. The cold, it's just like the heat. It'll suck the life from you. But the difference is it's not like I'm tired. I'm tired too from sucking in that cold air. My lungs are hurting. My hands are numb. My butt and the power back will and the same thing with the speed too. Achane can do the same thing, but those inside runs can start off the edge. Like when you run off that B gap, we have, Ingram. We have, who's the other two guys we picked up? I can't remember the names right now. The two old guys. They're going to eventually say no mas. And Pacheco's slamming it in there. And then Rice too. He's got the speed. It's going to, but I like Pacheco. I think the kid is not special, but really good. But at a certain point, your body just says no, especially with this cold. So I agree with you, but I love Pacheco. I love that kid, man. I really do. I was so watching him last year. He led the Chiefs to the Super Bowl, and he won the Super Bowl for them. Let me see where I'm at. Ramsey must play better in the build. His knee's flaring up, though. And they're not telling you if it's the knee that's repaired, but that knee's flaring up. He looked like I saw him freeze a couple times I hadn't seen before. So I'm a little concerned about that knee. I don't know if it's the same knee or not. I would expect. But yeah, he's got to play better. But I don't know. I think I'm a little concerned about the knee. Let's see. I agree. Understand why he does. Everything else sets up the run because we are weak up front. But I would like to see him commit more as well. Yeah. Oh, yeah, 100%. But, if you look at last year, McDaniel, last year, I totally got on him. Like, dude, you got to run a football. I mean, this is bad. The Charger game, how do you not run against the Chargers? They're like the 30th run defense. Last year, I really said he screwed up not running the football. This year, I think it's same can be said too. But I think he also understands that they can't. Because remember, like it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, the fans were like, you got to run inside in the red zone. What the heck's wrong with you? And then we tried to run inside. It was like, stop. So we ran 3 plays. Stop. And it was a stop, but Mostert bounced it outside and got it for the touchdown. So I think he's overwhelmed. And I think this is another problem too. When you don't run the football well and you don't have an offensive line, it makes everything else go to a higher difficulty level. And so Tua, he's got to play constantly at a higher difficulty level. McDaniel's got to constantly call at a higher difficulty level. When you have just look at yards before contact. When your offensive line, look at the Dallas Cowboys of the 90s, what they would do to people. I remember Troy Aikman going against the Packers, and he was hurt. He's like, guys, I can't get hit today. He wasn't hit. It makes everything so much easier. When you got to call these motions and got to all this flash stuff, you're trying to do smoke and mirrors because you can't just do it straight up. And straight up, it's like the guy who lies all the time. He's got to remember all the lies. It's a much harder life than the guy who's just totally honest. He might sound like a jackass once in a while, but he's totally honest. He doesn't have to remember all the lies. It's a lot easier to live. And that's how we are. We're in this constant state of masking and smoke and deception and speed. And football is like, okay, I'm going to take you to the phone booth. You could do that. You could do this. You could do that. When I get you to the corner of the ring, are you able to get out? And the Dolphins aren't. And so I agree. I don't know if McDaniel's our guy. I don't know if Tua is the guy to take us to the Super Bowl. But I know this offensive line is trash. It's trash in its depth. And then not the guys themselves. They're all great dudes. They're giving their heart. They're giving their soul. They're giving their blood. But it's an incongruent offensive line. It's not a well fleshed out starting group. And it's a very thin depth group. And then you add in the tight ends who aren't great blockers. 40-second grade seems too high. Well, we cover it up with the flash throw, the speed of the throw, So I just think right there, Jones and Eichenberg are going to determine this game. I believe that Hunt can move guys out. They don't have a good front to run block. They're not good run stoppers. Jones can be. They got some guy they brought in the last 2 weeks as big as like 335. He's drafted in 2022. He's been doing pretty good. But they got good linebackers now. Bolton and Chanel. Chanel's huge. He's playing edge. They got ways. They get you off schedule. They stop you with the pass, and then they'll blitz. They'll run blitz to make up for their lack of D front. But we've got to win there. Is Waddle playing? I don't know. If he does, then that's going to create the leverage to keep the guys off. If you take one away, it limits the leverage. So is Waddle playing? Is he not? Smythe, does he have a good game? Does he have a bad game? Mostert, is he healthy enough to play all game? You know, think about it too. We got Mostert, we got Waddle, and we got Hill, and we run, you know, he's an old guy, Mostert. We should have saved him, but we ran him into the ground. We didn't have a good, like, fleshed out running back group. If you give him better blocking, it doesn't beat his body up so much. But then you got Waddle and Hill trying to make up for this run game with all these speed runs. And then Waddle got Hill hurt on the one of the 2 or 3 weeks ago when he got the high ankle sprain. They're small guys. They should be catching a football. They shouldn't be getting jacked up so much. We should be able to run inside. So, Curtis, the overwhelmed. Hey, Brian, what's going on, man? Oh yeah, sorry, McHenry, man. I like that. I like that name, dude. That's a cool name. The overwhelmed comment is 100% correct. I would love to see McDaniel allow OC to call plays. Yeah, if there was one game, and I don't know if it was just a wind or something, but that call card, I was watching, it was going like this. And he's trying to look. I think the guys. Let's think about it. He's a run game coordinator in the booth. You bring him down to run the whole team and call. You don't give him an offensive line. You tell him we're going all in. You got to win. That's a lot to ask. That's a lot to ask. What video was that? Oh yeah, sort of. Oh wait, thank you, brother. I wrote notes down on that one. Thank you. All right, listen. Kurt Warner has a great video. Check it out. He said, this offense is based on timing and accuracy more than scheme. And timing and accuracy is finicky. Timing routes can get thrown off. Timing routes can be paid attention to by the defense. They know your guy's going to be here, you guys going to be here, and they can pay attention to that. Scheme, along with timing and accuracy, would be the most optimal. So he said that. He said, Tua fits into windows. He's constantly looking to throw the football and fit it into a window. But why? Is it just that's all he can do? Is that what he's coached to do? Or is that all that this offense can do? So if he throws it into a window, he can get the ball out of his hand quicker, and it lowers the time to throw and uplifts protection. Or maybe he just can't do any better. But that we don't know. But the question is why? Why does he have to fit into windows? He noticed that McDaniel and this offense does not have a good hot game. And that, to me, is a huge problem. Why is Tua not able to call hot routes? Some of it might be because we get so late to the line of scrimmage. We're so busy getting all this stuff in there and making all these guys move. There is no time for hot routes. Hot routes would change a lot. We would learn more about Tua if he was able to control the line of scrimmage, point out guys, and call out hot routes. That's what Marino did. Marino had his pure chemistry with his guys. They knew they'd come to the line of scrimmage early, and then he would look and read, dissect, and call out, and they would do their thing. I think he even did that when he came back from the injury, and he got the fly touchdown against the Patriots in week 1. Him and Fryer were notorious for that, and Duper, Clayton, McDuffie, but we don't have that. Why? Why are we not able to call hot routes? Pressure. He noted pressure, but the one negative, I'll say at Kurt Warner. Kurt Warner's awesome. I love him. He's a great quarterback. I'm a nobody. But I would like to have him as a quarterback to have said, hey, when he was making that throw, there was a guy in his face. And he said this pressure, but he didn't take into account the psychological effects. And why was their pressure so quick when they were only rushing 4 guys? I thought that was the one missing piece of Warner's video. Great. But that's the thing that I wanted him to talk about. Hey, why is the pressure getting that quick? Why, when you got 5 against 4 or 6 against 4 or 7 against 4, why is there pressure? And so that is the unknown. We don't know. We can't get into his head, but I think he could have done a better job on that video with that. Take more underneath throws. I agree. But I do feel like Tua at a certain point just gets locked in because I think he sees, I got to get this thing out quick. And that's between him and McDaniel. He's got to grow past that. There were definitely easier throws he could take, but he's trying to fit it into that window. He has a tendency to lock. But I also know that there's times he can't go through his progressions because the pressure's there. So that's something else. On the money. He called, that's his superpower, on the money. So guys will say, Tua sucks. Well, if he sucks, why would want to say that's his superpower on the money? That's you want your quarterback to do that. Now, this doesn't mean he's the greatest thing since sliced bread and he's got no flaws and he's going to take us to the Super Bowl. But, when you say he sucks, then you're saying he shouldn't be in the league and he's a 32nd worst quarterback. And that's why this whole Tua thing is big, because either he's the greatest quarterback or he's the worst. Decides ahead of time. That was another thing that's, I think somebody brought up in the comments. And that's, you have to ask, what came first, the chicken or the egg? What's being set up? If the blitz gets in at 1.194 seconds and they're rushing 4 all day and the pressure's getting in that much, that quick, and he's got to throw it that quick, that could easily be extrapolated out to they are highly susceptible to pressure, and it's creating a ripple effect across this entire offense. Not saying it is, but that would be something you'd want to okay, well, that's all. I had some other stuff, I think, but I didn't put it down over here. So go back and watch that video. But what I said, I think, it's really, really good. But I think the one thing that he left on the table is, why is the pressure there? Like there was one play where he went to the wrong route, but he had to sidestep because somebody was getting pushed into him and he had to make that move. Now, maybe he should have stayed there and take the hit and thrown the football. And that's something he could have talked about. And that would have been very, very interesting. It would have made that video perfect if he could have analyzed the pressure and the psychological effect and why are we seeing the pressure with so minimal amount of blitzing. Like the plays he showed, I don't think there was any blitzing on that. Maybe there was one. There was a side sting blitz I think he had on it. Very good video. Check it out. Let me see. To me, it makes no sense not to use a chance to check down. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff that there's this stuff on the table, man. There is, and McDaniel, there's no way that you can totally absolve Tua and McDaniel from having to improve. But again, you took a green head coach, gave him no offensive line, no inside running game, and said he had to win right now. I don't know why we went from slow boil to win now. Something didn't seem right. Whether they were trying to show Flores up or they're trying to, I don't know what they're trying to do, but I don't think it was wise. And they misbuilt along the way. You don't go into a season that's your high point talent season with Cotton. Eichenberg is your backup center who's never played the position. Jones, and then even Jackson. I don't know. Like, why didn't we just bring in competition? We could have got Zach Tom 2 years ago in 2022. I banged the table on it. He was in our house interviewing. He had athletic talent that nobody had seen from an offensive lineman in 30 years. And we took Easy and Tyndall, and neither one of them's played. And then we drafted Cam Smith this year, who I was on board with, but he didn't play this year either. So it's got to all kind of come back to one guy. And I'm not saying, Greer's the worst guy ever, but at a certain point, you've got to go through the whole thing and say, hey, there's incongruency here. Who's in charge? Tua is in charge of the offense on the field. McDaniel's in charge of the team in the offense. But then the whole bill goes back to Grier. So, oh, yeah. How'd you not, dude? It was crazy. We could have had him, I think, with the 4th round pick. How do you not take this kid? His athletic numbers, his metrics were like no one had ever seen it, like as far back as it was like it was such an easy call that even a dope like me saw it. You could see my videos. He was even, if he wasn't in our house, I'd say, okay, we interviewed him. And then you take Tyndall and Easy. That's crazy. Because my personal belief is if you get too much talent in, then Eichenberg's going to look terrible and Jackson's going to look terrible. And then you got to deal with your picks that didn't pan out the way you want. But if Greer had just taken him, nobody would have cared about Eichenberg or Jackson. You could put him anyway. He could play center. He could play guard. He could play tackle. He's playing right tackle now, one of the best in the league in his second year. It's a shame. It's a shame. Oh, no, we don't. That's the biggest problem. We have to admit that we are not. No, so I forgot who it was. One of the guys in comments. I did it a while back. We've got scouting staff that dates back to the 90s. And, we get some good stuff. There's some trends that we draft well, but there's clear trends we don't. We were one of the worst drafting team for years. And the scouting staff has kind of been the same staff. When Ross said he's going to clean house, he didn't. Because the scouting staff was the same and Greer was the same. Greer was the head of college scouting. He set the protocols. He had the guys that were the heads of the college, the different areas. He set the metrics for what he wants and what they all want as far as what a good player is and what's the hit rate on it. It ain't too hot, especially on the offensive line. Oh, yeah. Oh, it was he fell to us like, oh, I can't believe. I thought we were going to get him in the fourth round. It was totally insane. It was totally insane. So that's where we're at. I mean, maybe we can win, but I don't know who's going to be in. We're Baker's out, Van Ginkel's out. We got the old guys on the edge now. X is out. Holland, both knees got MCL strains, which is torn fiber, just not enough to be a grade 3. It's like a grade 1, a grade 2. Is he going to play? And then Elliott, we don't know if he's going to. So it is a lot of unknowns. I'm concerned about the Colts. Somebody mentioned Hunt's interview. I don't know if it's true or not, but somebody mentioned an interview that Hunt doesn't. It was like he said, like these other guys are playing good. They were saying, I don't know. Did anyone see the interview? It sounded like he really wasn't really into playing or something like that. So I don't know. That has me concerned. I'm very concerned we could lose Hunt this offseason because if you look at the tackle position, it's the best ones are getting between 15 and 20 million. And if I'm like, say, the Jets, I'm bidding the Dolphins out. We're broke. And you know what? All this guard position, offensive line position is going up. There's a team that could bid us out of him. And, Connor's injured. He won't be back to midseason at least. He's not even signed. We going into the season with Eichenberg. I'm very concerned about this whole thing. McKenzie, I was very excited about McKenzie. He did really good job. He was the Ravens, right? He was the Ravens. I was very excited about him, but I'm just not very excited about our drafts. I mean, we didn't have lots of picks last year and this year, and we got Achane. And Cam, do we know he's going to play well next year? Maybe he's Howard 2.0. I don't know. But to get a second round pick that doesn't even get on the field, that's bad. And then Easy, he's like a non-injury. Well, I don't know what's going on with him. And Tyndall forget about it. I don't think you're going to see this guy play. So you got two drafts that Achane's great, but he's injured a lot. And, honestly, running back, as great as they are, they get injured a lot. And when you go down the list of pieces, they're not as the high capital as far as what you want to build with a D lineman, D edge player, cornerback, offensive lineman. Those are much higher on a chart. So if we're going to hit, like we hit with Achane, I think it's a hit, even with the injuries, because he's just a freak. But you know what? I'd rather had Zach Tom than Achane. It would have made much more impact on this team. So I don't know. We'll see. McKenzie let them all go. Compensatory picks rewarding for what player? Yeah. We get something for Hunt, but then you can't sign anybody, and we only have like 36 players on the roster, so we're going to have to add a lot of players, and we got a lot of guys that we got to add to this team this year. And so if you sign guys and you let guys go, if you get a guy that's remotely good, then you might end up losing that compensatory pick and you might get nothing. You might get bubkiss. So I don't know how it plays out. I got to look into it, John. I think it's a great concept, though. I think if we had drafted right and not spent so many picks on one player, we spent a lot of picks on Chubb, we spent a lot of picks on Tua, on Hill, on Waddle, on Eichenberg, on Kinley. I don't know who else we spent multiple picks on. We just throw picks away. And I don't know why we do that. Yeah, it's great. You got Chubb. Chubb that's a bad move now, guys. He's not going to be ready till maybe midway through next year or the end of next year. So you had him 1 year. He was injured a little bit. He did pretty good. You had him year 2. He did good for 3/4 of the year, but now he was out at the most important time. And the next year he might not be there. And you don't know how he's going to come back. So I don't know, guys. I'm concerned about 2024. I just want to win this game. If we can win this game, and it's the coldest game ever, it will feel great as a Dolphins fan. Hey, we might lose next week, but they'll play this game, the coldest game ever, Dolphins versus KC, and the Dolphins won it. At least will be a little bit of a feather in the cap. Anyway, guys, I'll let you roll. I've been kind of going on for a while. Yeah, right. Where are you at? Yeah. I don't know. A lot of stuff's basic. We did really weird stuff that, look, Chris Greer, he went a very unique route. He tried to break conventional norms. He tried to break conventional standards. And, I give him credit for that. It was bold. It was ballsy. He took the road less chosen. But unfortunately, most of the people who go down the road less chosen, they're eaten up by bears and pooped out. It's just the way it rolls. And it was a very risky roll of the dice. He went with a lot of injured players, and he went all in. And so, I don't know. I think conventional does play. He could have taken some of these hits, some of these roll of the dice, but just too many. And it was a riverboat roll that just didn't play out. But I'll take you. I'd like it. We can meet Dan Marino I'd love to do it for a day. We can meet Dan Marino. Anyway, guys, have a great day tomorrow. Enjoy the game. I'll get you some coverage. I appreciate all you guys do. If we win tomorrow, I'll bend over and kiss my own beep. I'm a PG show over here. Hey, Guillermo. Sorry, guys. I wasn't too on top of the comments that I was getting too into it. I'm getting too worked up. Hurts double to miss on picks when you get the first picks also taken away. Yeah, Ross screwed it. I got it. Yeah, too many picks. You cannot throw that many. You can't. You can't. Anyway, guys, have a great game. Be well. I got to go watch Reacher with the wife. I know I can hear her. She's telepathically telling me you're going on too long. You guys are the best. I appreciate everything. Go Fins!